Former Florida governor / new Republican Senator Rick Scott has pretty much made a career of being on the hot seat, right? Voters here in Florida didn't really like him, although for some reason they voted him in for 2 terms. He was investigated because his company pulled off the largest Medicare fraud in the history of the United States. And most of us have all seen that interrogation video of Rick Scott, where he didn't falter. He was totally cool when he pled the Fifth Amendment more than 70 times so that he wouldn't go to prison for the crimes his company committed. And he was cool as a cucumber. So it takes a lot to knock this guy off his game. And we saw exactly what it took last night on Bret Baier's Fox News program, and here it is.
So are you saying that it was a perfect call?
I mean, there's no perfect calls, but did the president do something wrong? Did he say you've got to do an investigation or I won't give you money? No, he didn't do that. And there's no evidence. There's nobody that they had that they provide testimony on that said that.
Right, but what if John Bolton did? What if he would?
That was the House's responsibility. They look, John Bolton,
I'm just asking you what they're saying. I mean, they're saying here is John Bolton, and he's going to say this allegedly. And what if he does say that? You're saying there isn't a witness, but he could be that witness. Now you have former White House Chief of Staff John Kelly saying, I believe John Bolton. I mean, it seems like this snowball, and you say you're confident that witnesses won't be.
Never end. They're going to come up with. The Democrats are going to. This is just like Kavanaugh. The Democrats are going to come up with something new every day to keep this going on forever. The Democrats, the House Democrats, said they had overwhelming evidence. This was their impeachment. We didn't vote in the Senate to do this impeachment. They had all the time, and remember, they're the ones who.
Again, I lived through 8 years of Rick Scott as my governor down here in the state of Florida. I've watched the deposition video from start to finish. Again, guy was unflappable. Could not draw him off his game, could not make him look scared or confused. And Bret Baier asking a simple question of, hey, what do you think about John Bolton, right? I mean, those are some crazy allegations. And suddenly, Rick Scott turns into a cartoon character with maybe Democrats did blah, 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 I don't know, maybe, blah. I have never seen Rick Scott do that. And of course, he kind of recovers down there at the end and, makes it sound like, who can really tell what life holds for all of us? And maybe the Democrats, they should have done this. They tried, Rick. They tried. Your boss, and I'm not talking about the people of Florida who are supposed to be your boss. I'm talking about your boss that you actually report to, Donald Trump. He's the one who wouldn't let John Bolton come and testify. Now, the Democrats, as I've repeatedly said, should have waited it out. Courts would have eventually sided with them. But it is what it is. But you can't say that what John Bolton is saying now isn't important. You can't pretend like this is somehow the fault of the Democrats. This is something you have to deal with. And if you don't deal with it right now in this impeachment trial, then I can promise you, based on the responses that you got on Twitter yesterday from this insane clip that you, for some reason, decided to tweet out because you thought it made you look good, yeah, answer for it now in the Senate, or you're going to answer for it with us in another 4 years. We're not going to forget this. We're just going to add it on to the long list of reasons why Rick Scott should probably be in a penitentiary instead of serving in the Senate. Hey everyone, you know what this is. It's the end screen, where I'm supposed to beg you to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content from Ring of Fire. But what I really want to do is ask you to consider becoming a member for more exclusive content and perks, including early access videos and exclusive videos. Check out the link in the description or go to youtube.com/theringofire/membership.